Hi, welcome back again. So in this video, I want to show you how to render the blog post on this page instead. So we have some blog posts in our database. This is my Django admin. So I already created some blog articles. So let me just create a new one right away. So I just say TypeScript full course. I'll paste the body. This is a lorem ipsum text. So I'll give it a category and then let's give it a thumbnail, right? So I'll pick one of these pictures here and then save. So right now I just added a new blog post. So the aim now is for us to render this blog post on this page. So that's what I want to do right away. So currently my backend is currently on port 8008. We are currently on port 8008, not port 8000. So you can use port 8000 if you want to, but as for me, I'm going to be using port 8008. So that's it. So back to my front end code. So over to my source folder, this folder, I'll create a new file in the folder called api.jx. So right now I want to simply configure our backend URL in this file. So we are going to be using Ashios. So first of all, you have to import Ashios. Run the command npm install Ashios, right? So npm hit enter. So over here I'll say import Ashios from Ashios, right? So we've got this now. So we are gonna be using Ashios to make our request. So that's why we have to make sure it is installed, and then we have to also import it here. And then over here we'll say const API should be equal to Ashios dot create, and then we'll say base URL. I told you want to configure our backend URL. So my backend URL is currently http //127.0.0.1 slash 8008. So and then I'll say export defaults export default API. So now whenever I want to make a request to the backend, whenever I am trying to make a request, I'm going to simply use API to make the request. I'll show you how it works. Okay, now we've done this now. Okay, remember from our backend now, this is our URL. Where is it? You can see to get the post. To get the post, we have to go down to /post to fetch our post. We have to come down to /post instead. So just like the backend, we go down to 127.8000 /posts /posts. So when you come down to /posts, you're gonna have your data. You're gonna have the blog post, right? So now let's render this information on the front end. That's the aim. That's the goal now. Okay, back to the front end now. So go down to our home page. Remember, this is the home page. This is the home page. So go down to the home page. So go down to the pages folder. Yeah, home page. So now we are going to simply fetch this post from the backend. So come over here. We are going to say API. So API, right? So I told you before, we configured this API here. We are using this API to make our request because we just configured our backend URL to it instead. So we say API dot get, and we'll say posts, dot get post, right? This is what we have to do. So instead of you trying to do fetch, instead of you trying to put in, instead of you having to put in the base URL, something like this. Instead of you trying to do this, let me show you how we did it before. So you don't have to use this guy again. You don't have to use it. You have configured it somewhere. So you don't have to use fetch and then you put in your full URL. No, you can do it just the way I'm doing mine now instead. So just Ctrl Z. So something like this, right? So you have to import API. Come over here and say import API. So import API. So you can see we just imported API right now, and it got suggested for us. The importing got suggested for me instead. So now we do import API.post instead, API.get. Then we go down to post, right, and then we'll say .then. So then we'll say response. So right now, let's simply console out the response data. I'm going to say console.log response.data. So now let's see if there's an error. I want to see what the error is going to be. I'm going to say .catch. I'm going to say error. I'm going to say console.log error.message. Right. So let's see. So back to the home. This is our home page now. So over to the home page. So go down to the console and see what we have there. Wow, you can see now we're able to fetch. We're able to fetch we're able to fetch. What was it called? We're able to fetch our blog posts. Instant, but it's okay. We're not done. Oh, so we are meant to put this in a use effects. I'm gonna say use effects. So whenever the page renders, we're gonna have a function here. So it's meant to be a use effects. So I'll copy this API code, copy it and cut it and paste inside of this use effect function. So it is meant to be in a use effects, understand? So we've got this now. So this use effects now. This use effect means that whenever our page renders, it's gonna simply make this API call to the backend. Understand? And we have this parenthesis. We have this square bracket. This square bracket simply symbolizes that this effect will only run when the page renders. Understand? So we've got this now. So now we're able to make our request to the backend. So now we are able to automatically, you can see we're having our. If I mean, let me just refresh the page. Don't waste my time. Okay, so now we're having our blog post and we're having 8 of them. Instead, you can see we have eight objects in the array, and our blog and currently we have 8 blogs over here. Okay, let me close this, guys. So now we've got this now. So how do we render this on this page? So I'll show you how we do that right away. And back here, I'm going to say const. I'm going to declare a state. It's going to say const posts, and I'll say set posts. It's going to be equal to an array. I'm going to say use states. It's going to be equal to an empty array at first. So over here, I'll come over here and update this empty array using this setter function. I'll come over here and paste it. I'll say set post should be response.data. Right, so we've got it now. We've got it there. So perfect. So right now, let's pass this post as a prop. We're going to pass this post as a prop down to the CRUD container. Understand? So we're going to come over here and say posts. So you need to know some React before you can follow this video. You need to know some React, understand? So you're going to say post. So you have to receive this array of post objects. We have to it has been passed to the CRUD container. So you have to receive it in the CRUD container. So over here, say post. Yep, right. So once we've got post there, what's the next thing? So we have to simply map through these posts so we can get our individual blog post, right? So over here, then we're going to come over here and say post.map, right? And then we'll say post. These are the individual posts. That post, this is the old post. This is the individual post.map. And yeah, we'll simply, remember, it's an arrow function. It's an arrow function. Then we're going to simply copy this, one of it, paste here, and we'll pass this post here as a prop down to this home card, right? And also have to pass the key. Understand? You have to also pass the key. Now I'm going to say post.id. It needs something unique. So now you pass the post as a prop to home card. So we'll go down to the home card component, and then we have to receive the post prop. I'll say posts, and over here let's just say post.title. Post.title. Browser, close this, and perfect. And so now we have 8 cards. We have 8 of this card. You can see showing us your individual titles, right? So that's good. Now, so let's look on the body. Come over here and say post.body. Okay. What was happening? Okay, so I think it's called post.content, not body. Post.content. So from our serial from the backend code, it's called contents, right? Because now it's too long, right? It's too long. So we only so right now want to only get the first 20 or the first 30 words, right? So we have to simply get that. So now I'll come over here and I'll say, let's say const post body should be equal to, we're going to say post.title, then we're going to post.title dot split. So we have to convert it to, we have to convert it to an array dot split, right? And then we'll simply say dot slice. We want to get the first 30 words, and then we have to then convert it back to a string, and then add spaces in between. So right now what we just did now is that we simply converted that post content to an array, and then we got the first 30 items in the array, and after we got the first 30 items in the array, we have to now convert that array of 30 items into a string that is being separated by space. That's what we did there. So I'm going to pass this post body now over here. Instead of saying post.content, we'll say post body. So right now, let's see. It's giving us just what's happening. Sorry, I meant to say post.content, not post.title, post.content. Right, so let's see. Perfect, right? You can see it's now smaller. Okay, now so what next? Now so let's render the blog thumbnails. The pictures. How do we go about that? So let's see what the pictures look like. So I'm going down to my console. So simply zoom into this. So open one of the objects. Let's see what the picture looks like. You can see the thumbnail. It's showing. You can see the thumbnail. It does not have it, so we need to add the base URL. This is the thumbnail. It does not have the base URL added to it. So if I go down, and I forgot something. We've not yet configured our image upload on the backend. It has not yet been configured on the backend. So let's go configure it on the backend right now. Right now I'm going out to my backend now to the backend. So right now we've been able to add some blog posts, right? We're able to add them, right? But it turns that we've not yet configured this image, the media root and the media URL on the back end, right? So let's go and do that right away. So over to my send.py file, to my settings.py. I forgot to do this. So let's just do it quickly. Settings.py file, where's the, I'm looking for my static URL. Okay, yeah, so I'm going over here and say media URL. Media underscore URL should be equal to, I'll just say img, right? And the media roots, I'm going to say media underscore roots should be equal to, and then we'll say base directory / media. So this media serves as a folder that's going to hold our images. Understand? So this is what we need to do. So right now you can see our image, the image I uploaded that's saved in this img folder. You can see they are saved here. This img folder, understand? So for my models, I had to add this upload to image. This img here, and you can see it was created here, and it was the image, and the thumbnails are being saved to this folder. So what's next? So from the media root we have here, this media you see is meant to be the parent folder of this image folder here. So how do you go about it? So it's simple. So down to my project root directory, the same path as where I have my manage.py file, whereas where I have my manage.py file, I'm going to create a new folder called media. Hit enter, and once I've done that now, I'll simply drag this image folder into this media folder. Right, so drag into the media folder, move, right, so it's now inside. So let's assume we are done this before the uploading of the images. Let's assume we are done this before having to create the articles. We will not have, this would have happened automatically, right? This would have happened automatically. So right now we've already added some blog content. That's why we had to come over here and add up this stuff manually. So I mean, we had done this earlier before doing this. We would have had this completed by itself automatically. So we are not done. One more thing. So go down to your project. We have a lot of files open here. So go down to your project URLs file, this file. So come over here and say URL patterns plus equal to, and then we'll come over here and say static. Say static, and then over here we'll say settings dot media underscore URL, and over here we'll say documents underscore roots should be equal to settings dot media underscore root. So you have to import static and settings. Over here, say from Django.conf import settings. And let's import. I'm going to say from Django.conf.urls.static import static, right? So we've got those two. So I think everything should be fine now. My server is running. Okay, it's trying to run. So now, okay, good. My server is running again to my server. If I click on any of the blog posts and then click on the image. Okay, perfect. Everything is fine. So now, right now, how do we render? So I tell you from the back end, from what we have here, from the response we are getting on the front end, the images does not have our base URL. If you click on any of the objects, this is the image here. You can see it's not having the base, our backend URL attached to it. So how do right now? Come back to my front end code, over to API.jx. I'll simply just say const base underscore URL, and that should be equal to what we have here. Right now, simply export it. Let's make it exportable so we can import base URL in a different file instead. So over to my own page, I'm going to simply come over here. So I'm going to simply import base URL. It's called base. Come up. So, oh, it didn't suggest this for me. Okay, yeah. So it's here. I just imported base URL, right? So I think I'll just copy this guy, Control X inside here. They're from the same place. I hope it does not cause problem. So we have base URL. Let's see if this is still working. Okay. Okay, let's see if our code is still up. Okay, sorry. This is not the right way. So Control Z. Okay, I think we'll leave it this way. Yeah, so base URL, and then for the images, sorry, the base URL is needed. It's not needed here. It is not needed here. It is needed in the home card. It's needed over here. So I have to import it here. Import base. Come on. Base underscore URL. So now, yeah. So over here, remove this dummy image, and then we're gonna simply just say base. So this is what we are gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna use template literals, and I'll say base underscore URL, and then over here I'll also say posts dot thumbnail. Post or thumbnail, right? So let's see. Refresh the page. What's going on? Perfect. So now we have our images now showing, right? So I'm making progress. Okay, so right now let's work on formatting this date. So let's work on rendering out our own date. So if you go down to my, if I open the, let's open the, let me check out the console. Let me show you how the dates we have is not looking fine. It's not looking readable. So I'll open one of these objects now and show you what our date looks like. You can see the date here. This updated arts. I think we need to. Where's the? Okay, you can see the created. You can see the created art here. This created art. You can see it is not readable. You cannot easily understand what it's saying. So you have to format this state to something more friendly. Understand? So over to my front end now. Create a new file in the source folder. I'm gonna call this file. Say new file. Say format. I'll say format date .jx. Yes, format date.jx. So here's the file. Paste in this function format date.jx. So I'll remove this, guys. Yeah. So what this function is going to help us format our date. So I have to export. I'm going to say export default. Export default format date. So you make sure it's exported. Very, very important. Format date. So we've got this now. So over to my home card. Yeah, over to the home card component. So I have to import it now. Say import format date. Suggest it for me. Suggest it. Yeah. So yes, so it's up now. So over here to this. Here's the date, right? I'll come over here. And I'll say format dates. Format date, and I'll simply say post dots. What was the field called again? I think it's called post dots created art, right? Post dots created underscore art. So this should work to the browser. Yeah, you can see now we have the right date this post was created. 2024, right? 22nd of August 2024. So it's correct now, it's working fine. Okay, now so once we've done this, now what's the next step? We're not done yet. So let's work on, so whenever the page so want to work on adding a loading spinner that tells us that our blog is fetching, that tells us that something is happening, something is going on. Understand? So for example, now when we deploy this this application, if so whenever you are trying to get this blog post, it's going to take quite some time because it's coming from a live server. So once you add a spinner that tells the user that something is happening, understand? So how do you go about that? So you're going to come over, let's search for React spinners. So let's use one of them here. Okay, go down to this React spinners from davido.io. So click on this link on the top right, this GitHub link, click on it. Come up, don't waste my time. Okay, it's up now. Yeah, why is it so small? Still loading. Okay, it's up. So now you can see, ouch. So we have the guideline on how to use this React spinner. So first of all, let's simply install it. Copy this command back to your terminal. You have to install the package. So paste that command here, hit enter. So that's the first step. So once we've done that now, what's the next step? So we're going to simply create a new component. I'll call this component. Go down to the components folder in the source folder. So I'll create a new file. I'll say spinner.jxx. Hit enter. And I'm going to use this React snippet RAFCE to generate my component. So you can get this RAFCE. There's an extension. Come up. Okay, the extension is called EX7. EX7. Yeah, there's the extension over here. It's called EX7 plus React plus Redux plus React Native snippet. So if you install this extension, whenever you use that snippet RAFCE, it's going to simply generate a component for you. That's it. Okay. So now we've gotten this. So what's the next thing? So copy this. This is a spinner here. Copy this. Control C. This that clip loader is a spinner. This clip loader. Copy it. Clip loader. And over here, we'll paste it here. And you have to import the styles up here. Copy this. Import. Copy this one. Control C. And paste it here. Yeah. Once done that now. One more thing, you have to copy the styles for the spinner. Control C, copy it, and then paste it outside of the components. Yeah, so we have to remove this CSS. We have to remove this CSS properties. It's meant for TypeScript. Currently, we are using JavaScript. Okay, now we have what we need, right? Clip loader. Up next. Color, we have to remove the color property. It's as though something is wrong somewhere, bro. I can't really tell. Since color is not defined, we've removed color. Override. So let's add clip loader. Hope everything is cool with you, because it don't look fine. So now let's add. We are going to simply be accepting a prop called loading from the home page. So let's just add it there. Loading. We're not meant to be having any of these. Let's see. Let's run. Let's say npm. Let me see if my. Okay, let's continue. So you have the spinner now. I don't know why it's showing this red over everywhere. It's not meant to be, but it's fine. Let's proceed. It's not meant to show these red lines. So let's proceed now. Back to the home page now. So we're going to declare a new state. It's going to call this state loading. I'm going to say const loading, and I'll say set loading. It's going to be equal to false by default. This state now say false. Okay. Once that's done. So when we make our request, whenever this use effect runs, we want to set loading to true. Move that, yeah. I want to set loading to true. Right. So and then if the API call is successful, we want to set loading back to false. So if there's any problem, I'm going to set loading back to false also. So what do we do now? So we are going to simply call up loading over here. So say if loading is true, we're going to simply do what? Display the spinner, right? So you have to import spinner. I'm going to say import spinner. Come up, suggest it for me. Yep, so import spinner there. Okay, so now to the browser. Ouch, you can see. Let's see what the problem is. Okay, you can see you have the spinner. You can see it loaded. You can see that small spinner is too small. But let's see what's going on. Why it's taking time. Okay, so it's not meant to be, so that's too small. Let's increase the size. Go down to the spinner components. I'm going to increase the size to 450, and I want it to be purple. I don't like that red color. Purple. Right, so let's refresh this page. Oh, you see the spinner. The spinner is there, but perfect. You can see we've got that right. So that's good. So back to the home page now. So if the spinner is loading, we don't want to show the card container. We don't want to show the card container at all. So if I would just say loading, if loading is true, simply don't render the card container. Yeah, that's what this guy is doing. So you have to pass loading. Okay. Let's pass. We have to pass this loading as a prop to this spinner component. So say pass it there. because it's expecting it. If you check the spinner component, we're expecting loading, right? And it was used here, so that's why we need to pass that. That's why we need to pass that loading as a prop. Okay, guys. Now let's work on adding an error alert message instead. Let's assume something happens. Let's say we're trying to fetch our blog and there was an error. I want to be able to display this error message on the screen. So I'll go down to Bootstrap. So get bootstrap.com. So we're going to use the Bootstrap alerts components. So click on the docs. So over here, scroll down. Sorry, on the right. So click on. Sorry, yeah, components now. Click on alerts. So I need the red alert, the red one. That one. So this is the code for the red one. Yeah, this alerts danger, right? So before that, let's go simply create the components. Go down to your components folder. So create a new file. I'm gonna call it error.jxx. Right, so now let's proceed. So we have error.jxx there. So say RAFCE. Quickly come up. RAFCE. Create it for me. Inside, yeah. So I'll copy this now. Once it's copied over here, paste it. So we've got this now. So remember in React we use class name and not class. So we've got that guy there. So once that's done, now what's the next thing? So we are going to be expecting a prop called error. So then we're going to simply pass this value here. We don't need this stuff. I'm going to pass that error there. So we're going to be expecting a prop. So we'll get there. So back to my home page. I'll declare a new state. I'll say const. I'll say error. And I'll say set error, right? Should be equal to use states. It's gonna be an empty string at first. So now what we're gonna do now? So first of all, so if there is any problem, I want to simply update the value of the error state. It's gonna say set error to error.message, right? So if everything goes well, I want to simply set error to an empty string. Error should always remain an empty string if everything goes well. So that's it now. So over here, we're going to have just here. Over here, we just simply come down here and say error, and we'll say and the error component, right? So you have to pass this error as a prop. Yep, so we've got this. So let's import the error component on top of the page. So scroll up and you'll see import error from so we've got that now. So that's it. So if there's an error of any kind, just simply display on the page. So now let's try this out. Down to my api.jxx file. Where are you? Let's close this. So I'll simply change this to, let's just put in one wrong domain there. Yeah, that this is coming. This is wrong, right? Let's see. Because now it's giving me the error message, right? So one thing is this now. So if there's an error, I want to simply not show these blogs at all. I want to simply not show it. So go back to the home page. So I'll say if error, so I want to show something now. So over here I'll just say if error is equal to null, equal to an empty string. Yeah, so don't want to show. Yeah, we'll do the same thing for, that's it. That's what we need to do. So we'll do the same for. We also don't want to. We also don't want to show the pagination. So copy. So what's happening here is that if this condition is true, if it is true, the right side will be neglected. It will be ignored. That's what is happening here. So if any of this condition on the left is true, the right side will be neglected. So that's what we just did there. So refresh the page. It's meant to refresh. Ouch. Sorry, my mouse is making some noise. That's why I'm using my trackpad. So it's still showing this error equal to. Let's see. It's not meant to show. It's not meant to show this pagination. Oh, sorry. It should be sorry. It's meant to be not equal to. Not equal. Not equal. Not yeah. Right. So perfect now. Yeah. So now, right now, I just showed you how we can render our articles on the page. So go back over to your API and correct this. I just showed you something. So now I just showed you how you can render the blog post on the front end instead. So in the next video, I'll show you how to paginate these articles in the next videos.